What's going on, y'all? Josh here, not for PokeJax. Just a little chat today. Nothing too crazy. Uh, Yesterday I talked about Lorcana D23, how insane the collector booster boxes are going to be for Lorcana, the iconics that are coming out. Lorcana is really setting the bar pretty high. It kind of makes you wonder, hey, what is Pokemon going to do next? So we know we have a 30th anniversary coming up. It's only about a month away, give or take a couple of days. And we've seen some of the majority of the reveals, some leaks, possible leaks, or maybe the Muse. Once I see it, I'm not saying I discredit Anon or anybody, but once it's officially released and people start talking about it, then yeah, but we'll say it's real. But it's just kind of odd, we'll go back to like when Pokemon released, some of their information during, what was it, back in February, was it? I think it was like February when they started releasing a little bit about, little details about the 30th and whatnot. And, what is Q1 2027 going to bring? Lorcana is releasing their collector booster boxes in Q1 2027. And it makes you wonder, hey, what is Pokemon going to do to step up their game? Are they going to come back with first editions? Are they going to make their rarities harder to get? I've said this a couple of times, and I'm going to say it again. It's like, make the chase cards chase. So in grand scheme of things, right, in 2027, quote unquote, there's supposed to be more printing capabilities and all that. I really think they should make chase cards really chase cards and, print more product, but make the cards harder, the hard cards harder to get. I think in Pokemon's aspect of making money, like, hey, if you're going to make product more, readily available, but you need to make the cards that the collectors want harder to get. So I think, limiting the chase or serializing it or whatever, but something's going to have to give or take if they're going to, bring more product to the market. With Lorcana, I'll go to Target. I don't ever see anything Lorcana on the shelves, just like Pokemon. Even now with, Pitch, Perfect Order, if you want to say Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, Pitch Black, every time I go to Target, I don't see anything. I'm not hunting for it either. It's just, when I go to Target, everybody talks about, hey, these are bad sets. Well, every time I'm at the store, I don't see any. And that could be because, hey, whatever, whoever's out there getting them are getting them. That's good on them. They got the time, they got the resources to do certain, do things like that. My business doesn't do that. It's bad business model. Two, I don't have the time or the resources, and it just doesn't make sense to buy something for $49 or $59 and try to resell it for $70. It's just a lot of work, and it's just a bad business model. That's not how not how operates. But it's just funny, they keep on saying they're bad sets, but I can't see them on the shelves. I don't see Lorcana on the shelves. I don't see Magic on the shelves. So it is quite entertaining seeing, like, people talk about how bad certain sets are, but I don't see them on the shelves still. I go to websites like mine and they're not in stock. So, it tells me the demand is still there. The demand is not being met. So, what is 2027 going to bring? What, about 6 months away from 2027? I maybe off by a month or two. See, this was in July. Or excuse me, it's August, September, October, November, December, January. So like 4 months, 4.5 months away. And Q1 of 2027 is right there. And the boost, for Lorcana, you're going to have the collector boxes. What will Pokemon bring in 2027? Sounds like more supply for the demand, but with that supply and demand being met, are the chase cards going to be harder to get? Like with Rayquaza set, is it the Rayquaza going to be really hard to get? The set after that, is it that, whatever chase cards I would think Pokemon would have would be better, and it would make it more difficult to get. And I think that's how you subsequently meet demand, making more product, but people are going to open that product to get the chase cards they're looking for. Maybe that's Pokemon's strategy. I don't know. It's just, like I said, you got Magic with collector boxes and serialized numbers. Now you got Lorcana with collector boxes and serialized cards. It's what is Pokemon going to do to step up their game? I don't know if Earthbound's thinking about that. I don't know. I don't know if One Piece has that or not. I'm not a huge One Piece guy, so that's something I just got to do more homework on. Like I said, I try to be very diverse into TCGs, so do some more homework with One Piece. I think Dragon Ball has some sort of serialization to it. I believe. There's just what is going to make Pokemon stand out, and these quote unquote last 3 bad sets. Like I said, I can't go when I go to the store. I don't see Magic. I don't see Pokemon. I don't see Orcana on the shelves. So, I mean, they must not be terrible, but maybe it's just these terrible sets are making opportunities for people that really are collectors and like to open things and not resell it. They're getting an opportunity now to, get the open packs with their kids or whatever the case may be. It's just, for the Pokemon fans, is there going to be something else? For Disney or Credit fans, they got something to look forward to next year. Magic's already always had the, collector boxes with, sometimes some sets come out with them, some don't. I think the next set, Listen to Rudy, the Star Trek set, they're actually going to have like signed autograph cards for the Star Trek characters that are going to be considered like their serialized card and are hard to chase. Heck, even Godzilla set has their chase cards are signature cards. So I know Pokemon can't do that, but like the characters will be signed. They have some sort of special rarity or something that makes them stand out. Like the gold card, I guess that was the Pokemon's way of setting it back, going back to its roots with the gold cards. Maybe now they're gonna have to come up with something a little different to add a little different variety or flavor to the mix. I don't know. That's just my thought process. I've listened to a couple other YouTubers, and I think we're all on the same page as what is Pokemon going to do to step the game up. I think yesterday with Lorcana and D23 game over, like they put the bar way up here, and for this market, I think a lot of folks are going to shift their attention to Lorcana because now they have a serialized card, 1 out of 23, or you're going to have 23 Maleficent cards out there. That's it. And these, who knows how many of these collector booster boxes are going to make. Each booster box comes with 12 cards. So going into Q1, you're going to have these collector booster boxes. Nobody knows what MSRP is yet. I don't. I can probably figure it out once, like, my distro has Lorcana. I just can't get it because I am not a Play Store. But I'd be excited to see what their MSRP is going to be and how the secondary market is going to react to that, because I would fully anticipate that these cards are going to be very expensive. If it's anything like Magic and the set is that desirable, I can foresee that these cards are going to, these collector booster boxes are going to be very expensive. Now with Pokemon 8 with age, things get typically go up. These new modern sets haven't been faring so well, and some of the one of the strongest sets in the Scarlet Violet era has gone down a little bit, which was Destined Rivals, because of the reprints and restocks. Now, again, I can believe the ETB side of the house. I haven't seen anything or anybody saying that they received booster boxes yet of that's a restock. Not saying they don't exist. I'm not saying I don't believe Rudy or I don't believe Anon. I just haven't seen any videos of anybody saying, hey, here they are, I received them. So we'll see what happens. My distro, like I said, I'm a baby, so a little baby fish in the sea. So if they did get them, I probably wasn't in the spin credit to get those, but I just haven't heard it advertised. And usually my distro, they're pretty responsive. They would tell me like, hey, yeah, we got them, but you don't meet the criteria, which they, when I first started, they would always tell me, hey, this is, available for pre-order. You can definitely do it, but you're probably not going to get anything because you haven't built your spend up. So, probably those reprints, restocks of Destined Rivals are probably going to be for accounts that have, been established and have some, depth within their spin compared to where I'm at. And I understand that, and I don't get upset about it. Like, I get it. It's a game. It's a game, right? You gotta play the game. You gotta do your time. You gotta pay your dues, and things come as it progresses. That's just kind of how that works. So I respect that. I don't get upset about it. I'm always very happy and blessed when I do get some sort of Pokemon products, in regards to how much or how little it is. it's just good to see it because that means, to me, that means I'm moving up in the chop chain through distribution, even if it's just a case of everything or 2 cases of everything or having a second wave of something. It's a good feeling to know that, hey, they're trending in the right direction in a very difficult time right now, like this market is. So I'm happy and I'm blessed when I do get what I do get. But this is just kind of my thought process, where my head's at. It's, what will Pokemon do to step up the game? Yep, we know we're going to supposedly get more product in 2027. Are they, with these new sets, are they going to come out with something special? Or are they going to make chases harder with more supply available for the demand? What is the power move? Because we just saw Lorcana do theirs. Magic's been doing it. And I'm just curious to see what Pokemon's going to have up their sleeves to kind of counteract this, because, Disney's a huge IP. I'm not saying Pokemon's not a huge IP, but Disney's been around for about 100 years or so, 120 years, like the 120th anniversary, something like that, not too long ago. So, I mean, they know what works. Now, what they do and what they don't do, that's their prerogative, that's their company. But with them and Ravensburger, it seems like they got a product and they're knowing how, and they're learning, or they know how to manage it now. So things are going to change. And you look at some of the singles too with Lorcana, these iconics are way, 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 way more rare and way more expensive than some of these Pokemon cards. So the power, it's the power in the household might have shifted somewhere. So it's going to be really interesting. But other than that, I have nothing else. I wish y'all a happy Sunday and y'all have a great week. Until next time, Nana4 out.